Thursday morning, everyone. You're watching News 13. I'm Ibeth Bruswal. So we're talking about Erika. It's going to get closer and closer to Florida, but where exactly is it headed? All the details now with a look at your weather on the ones.
Good morning. It's now 8:01. Got the latest numbers in now from the National Hurricane Center. Erika still has the same winds as the previous advisory, with winds of 50 miles per hour as it makes its way through the Leeward Islands. Still poorly organized. We'll have some time to go through this latest advisory and bring you the latest at 8:21. It still has that westward progression at 16 miles per hour. Of course, we'll get back to how that could impact us this weekend. We're also talking about some rain unrelated to Erika this morning coming in from the Gulf. Watch for some showers with perhaps some thunder and lightning embedded, passing through Denellen and ultimately over towards Ocala. East Coast Beach is looking good this morning with a view on the Beaver Toyota Camp, the Gold Line Restaurant in Flagler Beach. Middle 70s now for the I-4 corridor. Your weather headlines look like yesterday in that we have more heavy rain to talk about today. This trend continues into the weekend, but really the biggest thing is that last item, Tropical Storm Erika. See you again at 8:11. Let's go over to Ryan now for our next check of real-time traffic.
Your accurate weather experts forecast with Storm Tracker 13.
Good morning. It's now 11 minutes past the hour. This morning starting out with some breaks of sun, but that'll be limited because the afternoon hours will feature thunderstorms. And like yesterday, some of them could be locally strong. So the earlier the better for outdoor activities today. Check that out. We saw some dolphins in Titusville in Brevard County. So right around sunrise, what a great way to start your day if you're out for a morning walk and happen to catch that off the coast. Those waters are going to look a little bit different by the end of the weekend and early next week, with hazardous conditions deteriorating conditions because of the impacts of Erika. And of course, we'll be talking about that at 21 past the hour. In the meantime, we have rain today unrelated to Erika. Of course, we had all that yesterday too. And our temperatures this morning were actually a little bit cooler as a result. We woke up to lower 70s. The previous morning, we were closer to 80 degrees. And this trend will be extending into the afternoon because our temperatures will be held closer to 90 degrees. So more clouds, more rain, not as hot today. This chance to rain, especially after school, up around 70%. Here's what's happening on Storm Tracker 13. We have a stalled out boundary that's to our north, and south of it, this southwesterly flow pulling in ample humidity and moisture to fuel our thunderstorms for today. And even for the first part of the day, we're having some rain coming in off the Gulf, perhaps some downpours entering Sumter and Marion counties, but it's the afternoon hours north of I-4 more favored for accumulations again to be 1 to 2 inches, and we're going to add on to what happened yesterday. So there could be some minor flooding in the usually prone areas given the potential for more heavy rain today and tomorrow too. But let's go through today's numbers. Right around 90, Sanford, Leesburg, and Orlando. These numbers really hinging upon how much sunshine you can have before the clouds thicken. Tonight, some lower 70s for Sanford. Middle 70s most other places, and we'll close out the work week tomorrow with another decent chance for afternoon rain. See you again with more at 21 past with the latest in the tropics and your 7-day forecast. Right now, a live look at Storm Tracker 13 Doppler radar. At the latest on Tropical Storm Erika here at 21 minutes past the hour. This storm has made its way through the Leeward Islands, now entering the far eastern Caribbean or northeastern, and it's going to come close to the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico in the next 24 to 48 hours. The latest advisory unchanged with the wind speeds at 50 miles per hour. Now remember, this is quite a distance from us here in Florida. We can track out the distance here. Some of that convection located about 1,200 miles or so away from Florida, and that is going to be something that we will watch as it gets closer. We'll be able to fine-tune the exact forecast track. Today, still going to make that northwesterly curve. Any shift in this, of course, would have a bigger impact in the long-range forecast because the models need to initialize on these conditions. But it's going to be in a hostile environment still. Dry air and wind shear are going to prevent it from strengthening too much between now and Saturday. It should still be a tropical storm. It's when it gets closer to the Bahamas where the water temperatures are so much warmer, that's where it should strengthen quickly. Models continue to want to keep it to the east of Florida, which is what we like to see, but still close enough for us to have some impacts in the water and perhaps with some rain bands. So a little too close for comfort as of now. There are no advisories for Florida, but the tropical storm watches were extended this morning to include the Turks and Caicos and the far southeastern Bahamas. For Puerto Rico, that is a tropical storm warning. High wave heights already indicated close to the center circulation. over 12 to 15 feet, and those extend over to the north shore of Puerto Rico. And this is the type of impact we could have for us, even if the storm stays well offshore. Rough seas, coastal erosion, rip current threats, that's something we have to contend with next week. Now, the radar imagery that we pick up here on Storm Tracker 13 showing some torrential downpours in the Lesser Antilles from the Windward Islands up towards the Leeward Islands, and they're expecting some 3 to 6 inches of rain out of this. So regardless of the strength of the system in terms of the winds, it's going to be a big rainmaker in that part of the Caribbean. Locally, we have our own rain to talk about today. Scattered thunderstorms impacting the boaters with a weak front that is a position to our north. We're in the warm, humid sector underneath it, and that's going to be favorable for more storms. But to the north of that boundary, there are some cooler temperatures for the travelers headed towards the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, northern New England, feeling like fall. Meanwhile, across the plains, heat still building in the 90s and triple digits. So anywhere along that front in the southeast, some soggy weather from the Carolinas through the Florida Panhandle. That could offer some weather-related travel delays, but all these airports from coast to coast are looking good. So today, some breaks of sun early, but you'll see those showers and storms developing during the afternoon. Keep it here to News 13 as we track those for you, since they should be pretty widespread for the evening commute. Next few days, temperatures stay in the lower 90s because of more clouds and increased rain chances. It's Monday, Tuesday that we could be feeling the impacts from some form of Erika. On to your pollen forecast, brought to you by Trial Pro, the Trial Professionals. Rain keeping those levels down today. See you again with surf conditions at 31 past the hour. Right now, a live look at Storm Tracker 13 Doppler radar. Good morning. It's now 31 minutes past the hour on this Thursday. Talking about rain chances today locally, and the bigger picture, Tropical Storm Erika is also one of our main focuses. With winds of 50 miles per hour, this is moving past the Leeward Islands, still on a westerly track, but once it turns to the northwest, that's when it's going to perhaps have an impact on our weather early next week. We'll have the complete tropical update at 51 past the hour. But a lot of weather to talk about here today, with clouds on Storm Tracker 13 allowing for a little bit of sun through, kind of like we see on the ruined Ziffer cam at the Ocean Deck restaurant on Daytona Beach. It's not going to look like that all day. Showers and thunderstorms will be developing. They could be hazardous to those spending some time at the beach. Water temperatures, they're a little bit warmer, 82 to 86. There are your tide times. Of course, we'll talk about today's rain chances coming up next with your county by county forecast at 41 past the hour.
Your accurate weather experts forecast with Storm Tracker 13.
Good morning. It's now 41 minutes past the hour on this Thursday. Today looking a lot like yesterday, and that will start out with some breaks of sun, but afternoon showers and thunderstorms are back in the forecast, and we could be in for some heavy rain like we had yesterday. A blend of sun and clouds this morning on the FBC Mortgage weather cam in downtown Orlando, but the clouds will win out the battle today, so we're not going to have as much sunshine to heat us up. Our temperatures as a result will be held closer to 90 degrees in many neighborhoods. Maybe even notice this morning when you stepped outside wasn't as warm as yesterday morning. We were a few degrees cooler. I want to go back and talk about that rain potential though, because if we get heavy rain on the same areas that saw it yesterday, wouldn't take much to instigate some localized flooding, especially in Osceola County near Holopah, over 3 inches. Also East Orange County, over 2 inches. So today those rain chances up around 70%, and that's pretty much area wide. Flagler and Volusia counties, your temperatures will be in the upper 80s, near 90 Deltona, limited sun early, rain late in the day. Same with Brevard County, and a few of them could be locally strong, like we saw yesterday, with upper 80s before the thunderstorms develop. Watch for heavy rain in Osceola County, some sun early. Here you get slightly warmer temperatures like 91 in Point Siena. Seminole County rising to either side of 90 degrees, and then Marion Lake and Sumter counties receiving some rainfall a little bit sooner for the I-75 corridor before lunchtime. Some thunder and lightning embedded too. Last stop, Orange County with 90 today for Orlando. That's not quite yesterday's high of 94, and that's a little bit below the average for this time of the year. You want to stay with us for the 7-day forecast, talking about rain chances into the weekend, coming up at 51 past, but of course that's when we go to the tropics. I'll have all the latest on Erika coming up in less than 10 minutes. Right now, a live look at Storm Tracker 13 Doppler radar. 51 past the hour means it's time for your tropical update. Of course, we're focused on Tropical Storm Erika emerging from the Leeward Islands and forecast to stay as a tropical storm at least for the next 24 to 48 hours. Still some uncertainty in that extended forecast. Here are the latest numbers with winds of 50 miles per hour. That is unchanged from the previous advisory. To be classified as a tropical storm, winds of 39 miles per hour are needed. In order for this to be a hurricane, it would have to have winds to 74 miles per hour, and that looks like it's still a few days away since there's a lot of uncertainty in this short-range forecast. Now, the tropical advisories include tropical storm warnings from the Leeward Islands through Puerto Rico. As of today, they have been extended up as a tropical storm watch for the Turks and Caicos and the southeastern Bahamas. Now, what Erika is going to be facing in the coming days, dry air and wind shear. In fact, that's already happened. Even though this looks like a pretty impressive system with the water vapor imagery, a tremendous amount of moisture, the winds are going to be carrying a lot of these higher cloud tops away, so it's not allowed to keep that closed circulation and be vertical throughout the column for it to have that circulation throughout. So it's still very poorly organized. What we're watching also is the placement of this ridge of high pressure and a trough off the east coast, because these are going to be the steering mechanisms to perhaps take it to the Bahamas or perhaps curve it further out to sea, or still there's some uncertainty that it could weaken across Cuba or Hispaniola. So there's still a few different scenarios. As we get closer out in time, we will know a little bit more. But one thing is for certain, if this does make it to the Bahamas, where the water temperatures are so much warmer, that is going to promote intensification. Some of the water temperatures here as warm as 90 degrees or so, according to Storm Tracker 13. So those darker reds indicating where the water temperatures are very promising for development. Here are the latest spaghetti plots, and this looks different from 24 hours ago. We like to see this shift, keeping it away from the Florida Peninsula. There still are a few outliers that want to take it closer to the Florida Straits or the Keys, and as we go further out in time, we'll have more resolution on this, which is why you got to stay here for updates as we can fine-tune this as we get closer to the end of the weekend and early next week. So the latest forecast track as of this morning, tropical storm as it stays north of Puerto Rico and Hispaniola and eventually into the Bahamas as a tropical storm, but then strengthening once it hits that warm water as a hurricane to the east of central Florida. We still could be close enough for some impacts. This is going to have a good chance of at least some tropical storm force winds by the weekend into the Bahamas, and by Tuesday we still could have some impacts on the beaches and certainly in the form of coastal erosion and waves. So a lot to keep track of here with your weather on the ones, not just in the tropics, but with today's rain chances up around 70% like yesterday. Watch for heavy downpours in the afternoon, and that trend continues into the weekend. We'll see you again with more weather on the ones coming your way in less than 10 minutes. Right now, a live look at Storm Tracker 13 Doppler radar.